Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And I am so happy today that I get to see the smiling face of one of my favorite people. Michelle Lackey is someone that I met a few years ago at a Women's with Drive event. We didn't know each other. We got connected. And I just feel like we're BFFs, even though we live really far apart, but we just have so many things in common, and I just love her to pieces, and I'm so happy to have her on the show today. So Michelle, welcome to the show. And why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself for the people that don't know you, and then also, how did you get interested in motorsports?
Oh my goodness. Well, you're already making me tear up just by the
Oh,
introduction. So it's so good to see you again. I didn't get to see you this past 2024, but 2025 is here and it's going to be a great year. Um, so I am Michelle Lackey. I am the lady track boss at Alaska Raceway Park, which is a quarter mile NHRA drag strip and a 1/3 mile NASCAR oval track. I have been involved at the raceway since like the late 80s. My older brother started racing out here at the drag strip when he was in high school, and as you know, racing is a family sport, so that means all of us were here doing it as well. And as soon as I could drive, I was behind the wheel going down the track. Um, I did that for quite a few years, and then in 1997, I got pregnant with my daughter Morgan, and ended up going from racing down the track to I wasn't running the track in 1997, but that's where they started putting me to work, and I've kind of been working here ever since. So I have been involved not only as a track operator and behind the scenes, but I also have experience racing. I have raced at the drag strip. I have a championship as an in our open air class, which is motorcycles and snow machines, and I raced the snow machine and beat all the boys on that. I've also raced trucks. I have a super comp license, and then last year I upgraded my license to a level 4 NHRA license and was able to go 191 miles an hour.
ooh, hey, slow down, girl.
I'm trying real hard to get in that 200-mile-an-hour club, but we haven't quite got there yet. So maybe this will be my year. I race at the dirt track occasionally. The boys let me play at the end of the season, so I get to go down to Kenai and race at the dirt track. I have water skipped snow machines, which is like drag racing snowmobiles on the lake. I have done an event called Arctic Man, which is a really cool race here in Alaska where they have a skier starts at the top of the hill and skis down into this valley, and in the valley the snow machiner connects with the skier, and basically it's like a water um, skiing rope. You hand that to like while you're moving you do this handoff, and then you pull the skier up the top of this other hill, and then the skier lets go and goes down to the end. So I did that race a couple times and won that in 2005. I love racing, but I really, really love putting on this show here and making this work. So I don't get to race as much as I'd like to, but I do get to hang out here and make everybody else have a good time, or help everybody else have a good time, I guess.
Wow, what a lot of things you've done. It's
So many things.
it's incredible. Yeah, and it's no wonder that now, your love for promoting things and letting other people have fun. That's what you do. So tell me more about, what do you do now at Alaska Raceway Park? That's on my bucket list. I tell you this every time we talk. And in
I
fact,
know.
I told my husband this morning, I said, there's a lot of tracks I'd like to go to, but there's one track I have to go to, and that is Alaska Raceway Park. I have to go see Michelle. So I'm serious about it. I have to do it.
You absolutely need to come up and visit. So right now, I'm the sole like full-time year-round employee at the racetrack. And I don't know if I would even call myself an employee because employees get paid, and I'm not quite there yet, but working on it. So I am responsible for basically everything here at the track, like hiring people, I do so all the HR stuff. Right now, we're working on getting our ticketing online. So I'm evaluating and changing ticketing platforms. I do the marketing. I let's see what I do accounting. I do janitorial stuff. I clean and paint. You know, like if there's a project that needs to be done, I do the things.
Yeah.
I do have an amazing intern, Liz, who is a young lady that just out of the blue sent me a message. I actually met her at PRI in person in 2023, and she's a young lady who's a let's see, she's in North Carolina right now getting her degree in motorsports hospitality. Her um, not bachelor. She already got her. She's super amazing. But anyhow, she reached out to me and she's like, "I want to come be your intern." And I was like, "Okay." She's from Alabama, and so she came up and worked for me last summer. But she still does some stuff for me behind the scenes in North Carolina. My daughter Morgan helps out with photography and marketing and some of the PR stuff. And then I have Erica who helps me with the concessions and kind of ordering. So I'm starting to get a few people here and there that are doing things, you know, but they also have real jobs and real lives. But I decided, well, we'll get into that in a little bit, but I decided that this was going to be what I was going to do. So I have a degree in marketing, and I ran a print shop I owned and ran a print shop in Fairbanks, which is about 6 hours away, for 14 years before I came back here. And I started the Fairbanks Roller Girls at one point in time, 2009, and so 2007 actually. So I've done a variety of things, but now my main focus is working on this and trying to make sure that the racetrack um, continues to be, and it can be a sustainable on its own sort of a thing. We own all 187 acres that are here and have both the facilities. The problem with racetracks is that they are seasonal and they are weather dependent. So in addition to having only 3 or 4 months well, I guess it's like 5, but 4 or 5 months to run your business, you also have to really hope that it's sunny those days that you are running it. And that puts some unique challenges in, because if it is particularly rainy, like it's been the past couple years, then it's really hard to pay the property taxes at the end of the year. So I'm working on diversifying our income sources so that way we can continue to do our main focus, which is race. But also, you know, I don't have to lose hair over the fact that I'm, you know, that the rain is coming or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
I do
or
everything.
your hair turned gray like mine has, which
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
have a
that's
track to
coming.
blame for that. But you know, my dad was a farmer, Michelle, and
Yep.
so I get the part about the weather dependent. You can have a really great year, and then you
Hmm.
can have several years in a row that are terrible. And that really great year, you think, oh wow, but then in reality, you have to save and put that away and act like you don't even know it's there, because you don't know what the next year is going to bring, or the next year. And
Yep.
it's so hard. I see that even around Kalamazoo, you know, where oh, they predict rain. And so then what do you do as a track owner? Do you cancel? Do you keep it going and then everybody shows up, then it rains? Or you cancel, then it doesn't rain? You can't win no matter what you do.
Right.
I can't even imagine. It's kind of like being a farmer.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And that's funny you mentioned the farming thing, because that's the whole reason why we're here in Alaska. We were originally farmers in Wisconsin, and in the early 80s, the state of Alaska decided to make farming part of their economy. And so they parceled out these properties, and there was a little ad in some little magazine that my mom was reading that said that they were looking for somebody to come up and manage a farm. And so my parents uprooted all of us from Wisconsin and brought us up here, and we started farming for a little bit, and that didn't really work out, but then we ended up here where we're at. So
And you know, the weather. So tell me what the weather's like. So we're recording this on March 20th. So is this spring? Or are you having the same seasons that I'm having in Michigan, basically? When do you
Well,
really are you able to start racing?
it's this year has been an unusually mild winter, so we are kind of having spring-like things right now, which is great because we tore the tower down, our drag strip tower last fall, and that needs to be rebuilt before we start racing. Our season starts on Mother's Day weekend, which is May 10th, and then we are going to run through Labor Day, which is in September. So we're very similar to the season that they have in Kalamazoo. It is difficult for us to get a lot of stuff done um, in the off season because generally it's cold and you can't paint and fix things up and spruce them up. So we're going to be starting to go pretty gangbusters here once it gets a little bit warmer and the temperatures stay warm and not freezing at night. Um, Most of the season, our temperatures are, I know, in the 60, 70, 80 range. We'll get an occasional really hot day for us, which is 85 or 90, and we're all melting and everybody's complaining about sitting in their cars in their hot suits. And I'm like, dude, this isn't California. Like,
Right.
Oh goodness, I might have to let my dog in. So,
Let your dog in. Go ahead.
Let Sassy in. Be right back.
That's fine.
All right, come on.
We love our pets, and so we
Uh,
we all love our pets. We have to make sure our pets are taken care of. So I'm 100% with you. My dog usually sits right outside my office door when I have the door shut, and he kind of scratches at it once in a while if he hears me talking. So I totally understand about the dog. So yeah.
Yep, that's Sassy. She's the official track cleanup crew. She goes and makes sure that we don't have any leftover hot dogs or nachos or steaks, bones, or anything on the property. So
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for us, a 90-degree day in the summer is nothing unusual in Kalamazoo. Plus, we have humidity. Do you have humidity in Alaska?
It depends on where you're at. The state is actually like Alaska is very large. If you take a picture of Alaska and you put it over a map of the United States, it will touch all four sides. Like,
wow.
It is that big. And so humidity depends. Like we're more humid here than Fairbanks, where I was living before, because Fairbanks is in the center of the state and it's surrounded by mountains.
Okay.
We're a little bit more on the coast, so it's a little wetter here than other places. But
yeah. So let's talk first about the drag race track, because I know you've got a lot going on. So tell me, like, what are some big events you do, or what classes do you run? How many races do you try to race every weekend? Tell me a little bit about that first.
Well, we have 12 points races on the season this year, and we run a class called Top Eliminator, which is a kind of a mashup because we don't have enough pro mods or alcohol dragsters or nitro funny cars or anything to have their own separate class. So we mash those guys up and call it the Top Eliminator class. And they all run on an index, and then once they reset their index for their particular car, whether if they're running 2/10 or below their index, then their personal index gets reset. So that way we can kind of keep the field even. We're NHRA Division 6, so we run Super Pro, Pro ET, Sportsman. We have the Junior Dragster class and a motorcycle / snow machine class. Those are our like main classes that we run over here. We're also doing this year we're doing an event called Speed Fest, which is I don't know, if I don't lose all my hair in June, I don't know what, but Speed Fest is going to be a little bit of it's a mashup of everything. We're going to have drifting. We're going to do some oval track racing. We're going to have a car show. We're going to do roll racing, and we're going to have drag racing all on the same day, like the same 6 hours. And then we are going to use that as the kickoff for Alaska Speed Week, which is an event we started a couple years ago. You're familiar with Dragon Drives. They do those down in Michigan too.
Mhm.
Um, the interesting thing about a Dragon Drive in Alaska is that we only have one racetrack. And so we bought a remote timing system from Racing America, and we go up to this I want to say abandoned airstrip. It's not really abandoned, but they only really use it during fire season. So there's an airstrip up in Tanacross that we go up to. We set up the track, and we have a drag race in the middle of nowhere. And the loop that we do is about 1,000 miles. The first year that we did it, we had a gentleman, Phil Balmaceda, who came up from Texas with his Corvette. And then David Williams came up from Key West, Florida with a Suburban that he came and raced and participated in the event for. So we're getting ready to start the ticketing for that on April 1st so people can sign up and be part of it. But that's what we've got set up right now. We're actively trying to find other places that we can close down and use for racing. So we have a few more racing events, but it's not like SICK that I've gone to in Florida where you can drive all over and you can hit Bradenton and Orlando and South Georgia and all of the rest of the stuff. And that's a fantastic event, but ours is a little bit different. But it's an amazing way to see all of Alaska and to be doing it with people who are amazing. Like you should come for that event.
Yeah.
That would be the best because you could rent. We have the racer portion of it, of course, and then our sick ward for that is called the Tundra Tour, and you can come. My parents did it last year. They were really excited about being able to participate, and so you just hop in a car and you get to drive around and you get to see Denali and Moose and all of the things and stay up all night in the daylight because we don't have it doesn't get dark in the summertime, so there's light all the time. So but that's kind of the two big things. And then my other most favorite event is our Thunder Valley Flag Drags, which is our retro rockabilly event, and we have pinup contests and live music in the pits, and it's all 1974 older vehicles, so it's all kind of this retro vibe. And I think this year we're going to actually have some very vintage, like 20s and 30s vehicles. There's an organization here in Alaska that wants to come out and participate in that too, and so it's kind of neat. We flag start the cars. I get to dress up like a pinup girl, and I know it's fun.
That sounds like so much fun. And
Yeah.
those events, even though they're spread out during the season, they come quickly, don't they?
Yes. Yeah.
Back to
Everything
back. And so,
comes
yeah.
really soon. Oh, and I didn't mention Cash Days. That event we added a couple years ago too. So Cash Days is um, like street racing, but we do it from the top end of the track, and so we are running towards the starting line, and we use that same remote timing system, but we do it like in the middle of nowhere, so it looks like it's a street, but we still have guardrails, so we can kind of make sure that the guys stay safe and things like that too. But
Wow.
yeah, lots
So,
of stuff.
and it takes a lot to put on those events. I know it does. And I know, like, we've talked before, you're kind of a one-man band in a lot of ways. And so a lot of that falls onto you. But do you see that after you've done an event a few times, it's easier and you kind of repeat and you do better on something that didn't go as well, but it's not like starting from scratch, right?
Right. Yeah. Every time we do any of this stuff, it keeps getting better. And I am very thankful for the amazing team of employees that I have out here that I say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And they're like, okay. And they 100% support me. And whatever we need to do to make it happen, they pitch in and make it happen. And I couldn't be more blessed with our racers go along with everything, and everybody kind of understands their role out here at the track, and it kind of just makes everything happen. So Speed
Yeah.
Fest is going to be a little bit of chaos this year because it's the first time, but I think it's just the start to something that's going to be an incredible event here in the future. And I'm excited about that because we're going to be showcasing all of the things that we can do out here all in one day.
Yeah. Yeah, and so when people come for those events, like they come from a long way away, do they camp? Is there some place nearby where they can get a hotel? How does that work?
We do have camping here at the track. We have loads of space. Like I said, we've got 187 acres, so I have a ton of space if people want to bring their RV. We are also members of there's a thing called Harvest Hosts. I don't know if you've heard about that, but we're on Harvest Host, so people can come and stay here at the track if they want. There's all sorts of Airbnbs in the area. So if you fly in, there's some really cute places to stay out here too. So there's plenty of things to do and see while you're here.
Okay. Because I was thinking, gosh, I know that, Alaska is not as populated as some places. And then you get there, what do you do about staying? So that's good to know. There's plenty of
Yeah,
places that you can get a hot shower and a nice comfy bed, right?
yep, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So that kind of covers maybe a little bit about the drag strip. What about your other track? Is it dirt? Is it asphalt? And tell me, what have you got going on over there?
So our NASCAR track is a 3rd mile high bank paved oval. It's the only one in the state. Was built in 26. Well, it was built in 2015, but we opened in 2016. We've been NASCAR sanctioned ever since. We are also sanctioned with NX, so we have Bandoleros and Legends. We run Baby Grands, Thunderstock, Bomber Stock, and late models here. We also have an event where the dirt late models and the dirt modifieds come down and they tear up some stuff on the racetrack, and it's a lot of fun. We have a few sprint cars that come out and play every once in a while, but mostly that's what we do. Right now, I have 10 events on the schedule for our season here, and so we're running kind of every other weekend, and that's partially due to the fact that we can't, we're far away from everybody. And so if somebody wrecks something, getting parts is sometimes a challenge. And so we want to make sure that, if something happens on the track, that people have the ability to get stuff and get back here for the next race.
Yeah.
This summer, we just announced earlier this week on Track Talk that I will be bringing up a driver from North Carolina, a young lady named Carson Gray, who would probably be an excellent addition to your podcast. She is a recording artist in Nashville and also races Legends. And so she's going to come up. We're going to do a concert on Friday evening, and then she's going to race on Saturday. And I think we're toying around with it, but I think it's going to be rhythm and racing. And depending on how this works out, it might be kind of a new venture for upcoming seasons. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I have never put on a concert before by myself, so why not add one more thing to the mix, right?
But it's one more thing because Michelle, and you know this very well. People want to be entertained.
Yep.
It used to be that going to the racetrack was enough, but not anymore because there's so much out there. They want to be entertained. So they want to come for a concert, spend the night, race, make it a whole weekend. So what you're doing makes a whole lot of sense. And, the fact that you found this young gal, I'm definitely going to try to get her on the show. That sounds amazing. And there's got to be more young women out there that would want to do the same thing, or, have a concert and then, have people racing and on the weekend. So I love that idea. I think that's going to go really well for you.
Yeah, it's a new venture, and I'm very excited that her whole family is coming up. They're coming up to make it a trip out of it. And then I have a young gentleman up here who is working on recording his first album in Nashville, and so we're gonna get him on stage and try to get a couple other people here so we can kind of make a big event from it. And then just see where it goes. It's we have the most beautiful venue. We haven't even talked about how pretty it is yet, but
we need to talk
for
about
those for those of you who have not seen Alaska Raceway Park on any social media, we're in a valley. It used to be a riverbed, so it's all gravel. There's mountains on one side, and that's the side where the northern lights are in the middle of the winter and everything. And then on the other side, There is another mountain range, and Pioneer Peak is the peak that is at the end of the drag strip. So when you are running down the drag strip, it looks like you are going to run right smack dab into that. When you come out of turn two on the oval track, you're driving straight towards that mountain, and it is absolutely the most gorgeous thing. And Melinda, when you see it in person, you're gonna just, it's breathtaking.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen pictures, but they don't do it justice. I know that
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So what are you looking forward to the most this year? Like, I mean, you've got some new stuff going on, you've got some repeat things going on, but what's going to be amazing about 2025 that's been going to be different than the rest of the years?
Um, to be honest, I'm hoping that we make a profit this year.
That's a good thing.
uh, that's, I know that's not the most glamorous answer to that question, but I'm a business owner, and that's legit. Like, I'm trying just to make sure that we get things done. Where I'm kind of, there's a multitude of answers for that. Speed Fest obviously is huge. Like, if we can pull that event off and make that work, and get that base for growing it for future events, it's going to be amazing. The concert is going to be cool. We tore our drag strip tower down in the fall, which was super scary because I'm like, oh, I cut the lines to the timing system, and I'm like, oh man, I hope this works. But the track celebrated its 60th anniversary last year, which the drag strip tower was built in 1964 when they built the racetrack, and it actually had four trees in the corner, so it was basically like a treehouse. So that building was 60 years old and a little bit sketchy, and I'm looking at things through owner eyes right now, and I'm like, okay, that's a little like not safe, and
Right.
so we tore that down, and now we're in the process of rebuilding. Of course, we have 8 weeks to go until race season, and now I'm starting to sweat bullets a little bit on that. But I'm very much looking forward to having the tower done and having that facelift
Mhm.
on the property. The new building is going to be beautiful. It's a little bit bigger. We have space downstairs with a garage door, so we can put all equipment in there very easily instead of trying to get the tree in through a man door. And it'll be insulated and have air conditioning in it, and all those sort of nerdy things that it's like you grow up, and when you're grown up, getting a new washing machine is a really exciting thing, and
It
when
is.
you're 18, that's not really that cool. But I'm very much looking forward to that. We have the middle floor is going to be a VIP area with its own deck, so that it's a private deck area, so that people who come up and stay and want to view from that area can watch the races. Um, it's just going to be a really, really cool thing. So I, as funny as it may seem, I'm probably looking forward to that the most, is just getting that building done, and having that, every time I make improvements out here, which is what I do all the time,
Yeah.
it is that much better for the racetrack, and it just shows the community that we have out here, that I'm reinvest pretty much everything that we do every year into improvements out here. We put in new concrete walls and a new timing system in 2022. We built the circle track, is this is going into our 10th season, so it's constantly being upgraded and made better and made into a space where people can come out and enjoy that time with their families, and just spend the summers making memories, and doing the stuff that we love.
So how many cars do you have, on a typical weekend, and how far away do they come from? Because a lot of these people have to come from a long way.
They certainly do. We have typically at the drag strip, I would say between, it depends on the event and how long the weekend is, but we'll have between 70 and 150 cars that come. We have about 70 to 90 or so that come, well, not 90, probably about 70 or so that are coming to the oval track on any given weekend. Our largest class is our Legends class, and those guys are such a hoot to have on the track. Um, and the racers come predominantly from the Matsu Valley area, which is Wessel and Palmer. We have a lot of racers that come from Anchorage and Eagle River, but we have a large number of people that come from Fairbanks, which is 6 hours north, or from Kenai or Seward and Homer, which is 4 hours south. And they'll drive up for the weekend and stay the weekend and race and then drive home. And I lived in Fairbanks, like I said, for 16 years before I decided that this was, I'm going to sell my house and sell our business and do all the stuff and come down here and just give it my all, making it the racetrack work. You know, I would commute 6 hours down here and work all weekend and then hop in my Camaro and drive home and work all week at my other job and then come back here. So you have to be really dedicated to be here. It's, as we know, motorsports is a very expensive sport anyhow, but you can't take it with you, so you might as well have fun while you're here, right?
Right. And, I was thinking that, they had to be coming from a long way. And I talked to so many women and young girls, whatever, they drive 2, 3, 4 hours every weekend to race. And I admire people that do that because I'm so spoiled. Kalamazoo has racetracks within 30 minutes, almost every direction that I could go. And
Yeah.
so I'm so spoiled. And yet when I hear, how far do you drive? Oh, we drive 4 hours on Friday night. We get there at 2 a.m. and we get home on Sunday night at 4 a.m., whatever, and it's just like, wow, these people are so dedicated, but you find that in the racing community. And
Absolutely.
to have that many cars, to me, that seems like a really good number of cars for your area compared to, like I said, I live in a hotbed of motorsports in Michigan, and 70 cars on a night at a local track is a good number of cars.
Mm-hmm.
And they're local, most of them. So yeah, I think that tells a lot about your track and what you do there, that people come from that far and are consistently coming, because what's better than being at the racetrack on a weekend?
I don't know. People ask me what's the fishing like and what's, whatever like up here. And I'm like, if it doesn't have a motor, it's not going on the track. I don't know what else you do in the summertime. So
Yeah.
People get married and do stuff like that in the summer. I'm like, nope, not during race season.
No. And I'm sure there's a lot of things to do. Like if you wanted to come and stay for a week, all you have to do is reach out to the visitor center or the, whatever. But I'm sure there's a lot. But when you own a racetrack, you don't have time to be fishing, doing all that other stuff.
Nope. And my big tour, like I was really excited when we started doing Speed Week because it's the first time that I've ever been to, like, Talkeetna is along the way, and I've never gone to Talkeetna other than stopping at the gas station on my way somewhere else because it's in the summertime and we just don't go. And so with Speed Week, we get that, I'm still working and I'm still doing all the stuff, but we have the opportunity to actually go and see all these things. And it's kind of neat to be a tourist in your own state in the summer, even though we're still racing.
So how many other racetracks are there, do you know, in Alaska, and what would be the closest one to you?
Well, we are the only drag strip in Alaska. Oh my gosh, you got a Buc-ee's Cup?
I love Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is the best cup I've ever had. It's bigger than some, and I use it every day. Got my iced tea in there. Excuse me.
So we're the only drag strip in the state. We are the only high bank paved oval. There is a dirt track in Kenai. That's the one that I get to race in the fall. There's a dirt track in Willow. There's a dirt track in Fairbanks, and then there's a very, very small flat paved oval track in North Pole. But those and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the racetrack in Kodiak, which is a little island down south. It's down, and they don't race very often, but I had heard from the late model guys that they're going to go race. They're going to ship the dirt late models down there and go race this summer. So they'll have one race down there that I know of for sure. But there's not very many racetracks, and they're few and far between. And like I mentioned, the one in Kodiak, the only way that you can get there is either to fly or take a ferry because it's an island. So these guys are very, very dedicated to what they do, and the racers spend a lot of time and a lot of money to travel and do their stuff wherever they're at. So I'm very blessed to have the group that we do have here. And our track is a little bit different than other ones. In the summertime, we've got people that have reserved parking spots, so they'll come and they'll leave their trailers, and if it's not broken, you don't have to take it home. So or their RVs will set up. So like the first weekend in May is kind of like moving in weekend, and everybody starts bringing all their trailers home and setting up, and the track starts looking populated because we have, people set up camps along the fence, and they're kind of permanent fixtures for the summer. And so I like to say I run a summer camp. Well, there's some other things that go along with that, but I'm not going to say those. But it's a summer camp for all sorts of people. So it's amazing, and we love having everybody here and having the track family here every weekend, and just makes summer so much better.
It's like your family's coming back home.
Absolutely. Yep. And like, most of the people that are here have seen me grow up. They've seen my kids grow up. I've seen their kids grow up, and the junior dragster drivers are now running regular dragsters, and the Bando kids. We have Trent Dillard is one of our kids who started the first season with our Bandoleros, and then he moved up to Legends. Last year he was our late model champion, and now he is living in North Carolina and trying to make a go of racing down there. So, and he just turned 17 yesterday. So he's doing things. I've got another Bando driver that's hopping in a late model this year, and I am so blessed to see all of these generations here, and to have the amazing family that I do.
Yeah, for sure. So last subject we're going to talk about, well, a couple things.
Okay.
One of them is the women. How many do you have women that race? How many, do you have any, when we're done, you got any women you want me to interview? We'll talk about that after we are done recording. But tell me about the women at the track.
Well, we have, we'll start with the oval track. Our probably the most famous woman racer at the oval track is Tanya Wilson, who she's also holds the title for the fastest lap at the racetrack. She drove a sprint car and did a 14:202, and that record has not been broken since probably year 2, I think, was when she did that. She regularly drives in the Bandolero, or excuse me, in the baby grand class, and has been a baby grand class champion for years. She is a third generation racer, and now her son Jace is racing in our Bandolero class, so he's running fourth gen. She is an amazing rock star racer, super nice, works at an automotive shop during the week, and just a really good competitor. So I really enjoy having her. Baby Grands have also added Kay Saxon, who is Lance Mackey's sister. Lance was a legend racer here, but he also was a 4-time Iditarod champion, the dog sled race. Unfortunately, he passed away from cancer, and so now we do a 70-lap legend race in his honor. This year, we're going to have 2 new baby grand drivers, Hillary Hatfield, who also happens to be my bartender upstairs in the lounge, and she is my bookkeeper. And then another young lady, Kristen Gregoire, who her husband does legends and just became the NX dealer here in the state. And so she's and she just had a baby like 3 weeks ago, and so she's jumping in and she's going to start running baby grands this summer too. And then our Bandolero class, I would say, is probably 50 to 80% young ladies in there, and they're just the most. I love the kids, like walking around in their fire suits and their bobblehead helmets, and so we have a lot of young ladies in there. I have Brooke Svetkovich is running in our bomber class, so she's pretty amazing. And then we switch over to drag strip. And so last year I was trying to get the fastest lady in Alaska title because we had that title had been held by a lady from Canada for a while, and I figured somebody from Alaska needed to do it. Well, I didn't realize at the time that there were a multitude of other ladies that were attempting this. And so I put out there that I wanted to be the fastest lady in Alaska, and then somehow it turned into this big competition. Um, and I ended up going 191, which is pretty good. And I think I'm going to make my title the fastest woman track owner in America.
There you go. There you go.
With that, I might have to narrow that down to drag ships, but I don't know. I don't know that that's been beat by anybody else. But Maddie Turnbull, who used to run, she started their family started in juniors and stuff a long time ago. Maddie is the official fastest woman in Alaska. She is adorable. She's an esthetician, so her car is called the Lashed Out, and it's so she went 212 last year, so she set the bar very, very high. So I was very honored to give her that fastest woman in Alaska title. She is an amazing young lady, and super like seeing her behind the wheel. We have, of course, a ton of young ladies that are running in our junior dragster class. I'll get you a list so that you can
that'd be great.
go over all the stuff. We have ladies in every class of out here, motorcycle drivers, sew machines, like it's just really good. And there's more and more women that are coming into this and are getting behind the wheel and are having a good time being out here and enjoying racing. And the best thing about drag racing is you can just hop in anything and go down. Last year, so Liz, our intern that came up, she works at Montgomery Speedway in Alabama too. And so she comes from the oval side, and so she'd never really been in drag racing. So we popped her into a car and sent her down in a 10-second car, and she got to be a passenger. And then I let her take my Camaro around the oval track and try that a couple times, and then I threw her in the Charger and let her go down the drag strip a couple times, and so it kind of got her kind of reeled into drag racing as well. So it's a very fun sport, and the barrier to entry to getting into drag racing is much less than doing circle track, which kind of is a good segue because we do this event called Rotary Drives, which is a fundraising event for the Rotary Club here in Wasilla. And you can come out and pay to make laps on the circle track with your personal vehicle, or you can come and pay to make laps at the drag strip with your vehicle, or not like laps, but make passes down there. So, and we did that last year. The weather didn't cooperate super well, but we had a lot of people that came out and had a lot of fun, and they got to raise some money for Rotary and also go down and try their hand at the drag strip. And so some of those people will probably convert to regular racers too.
Yeah, it only takes once probably for them to do it. And it's like, oh, whoa, this is way more fun than I thought. How can I do this? Yeah.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, oh my gosh, I just love talking to you. We could talk all afternoon. I know we could. But you've got way more things to do than talk to me for sure. But is there anything that we haven't talked about that we want to make sure that we share about things you have coming up or your track? Because, here's the thing. You are one of the very, very few women track owners. Like I can think of a couple that I know. And there's probably more than that, that maybe I don't know, or they own it with their husband or something. But you're really the minority as far as owning a racetrack. It's not a typical thing that you would think about a woman doing, but you grew up in it with your family. Yeah. So it was natural for you to do it. But you are an amazing, amazing person. And I just love following you. I follow you very closely on social media. I'm one of your stalkers, and I am coming to Alaska. I don't know when, but it's going to work out. I'm coming at some point. I keep telling my husband I'm going to Alaska with or without you, so we're going to do that. But is there anything that you want to share or that we haven't talked about?
I mean, you mentioned the Facebook. You can, follow us at Race AK. We're at raceak.com is our website. We're at Alaska Raceway, and Instagram and Facebook is kind of where we're most active. I do have a LinkedIn page. I actually have my own website now that I just kind of started. It's ladytrackboss.com. There's not a whole lot on there, but I'm just starting to get that out there. Um, I just, I appreciate everybody so much following us and liking us and being part of it. And there's so many opportunity for women in motorsports. There always has been, but there continues to be, and it continues to grow and be a place for us too. And I just hope that, if somebody's out there and they're watching or they're listening and they want to go and, jump into motorsports, you want to, sell all your businesses and try to run a racetrack, you can do it, you can make it happen. And there's a lot of people out here that are supporting me. Like I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have this community that we have built that is helping be my support. I've had a couple challenging years, and I've got a couple more challenging years that are coming up. And I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't have, people like you I can reach out to and lend me an ear and give me feedback. And there's so many different things out there for us now. Women in Motorsports North America is an incredible resource for anybody looking to get in. If you want to be a tire changer, a mechanic, or an engineer, or there's so many different things that are out there and available for us right now. Just keep going and keep doing the thing you love. And if you want to get behind the wheel, then get behind the wheel. And if you want to be behind the desk or the podcast or whatever, you can do all of those things too. Just keep on doing it and keep making your voice heard and keep being out there. And I just really appreciate all the support that I've had from everybody over the years. And keep an eye on us, because Alaska is going to keep growing and you're going to keep hearing from me.
Yeah, you may be up in the corner of the country, but you're definitely not in the corner, because we hear about you a lot and we follow you, and you're, you've been guests on different panels and different things. People are noticing what's happening up there, and I'm proud of you for that. And I want you to know that you do have a lot of support, and a lot of us are behind you, even if we can't come to the races every weekend. So
yeah, and it's, if I can help some other racetrack get through some hurdles. Motorsports is taking kind of a beating in the political arena. There's not a lot of people there's a lot of people that love doing what we do, and we're busy doing what we're doing, and we're not getting I don't have time to look up politics and to do all that stuff, but there's a lot of SEMA and PRI and stuff are advocating on our behalf. And if what I'm doing up here can help another racetrack survive, that means the world to me. And that's just what I want to make sure that motorsports continues to grow here, but that we continue to grow across the country, and keep making these connections and these memories with everybody who's here. And see, I get all like,
yeah, I totally get it, because it's our passion, isn't it? We love not only do we love to watch racing, but we love the people that we've met that have become friends like we have. We would have never met had it not been for motorsports. And so just so grateful to call you a friend and have you out there doing great things for women and women in motorsports, and even the guys. You're even helping the guys, so good for you.
Yeah. Yep, I love everybody in motorsports, so I just want to keep making this thing happen.
Yeah. Well, Michelle, thanks again. Love you, girl. I am going to come and see you sometime.
I hope so. I will hopefully have a place for you to stay here in the next couple of years.
Right
at the racetrack. Thank you so much for having me. All right.